Welcome back to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creators. Of course, it's I, Flobo Boyce, the mayor, in the mayor's office, hanging out after hours. But I am not alone. I have a very important special guest. I told her before we went live, this is a special get for me. You see, in a world where compassion and kindness are harder to come by than Bitcoin, my guest on this episode is someone that has that in spades. He's worked in production. She's a makeup artist, a cat and dog parent, and has the wisdom of Solomon. Please welcome Emerald Monzon. How's it going, Emerald?
Hi, Flobo.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Good for Monday night.
Yeah, it's a Monday night chat. You know, I've known you for years, literally, but this is the first time I actually had a sit down chat one-on-one. I'm excited.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Love the
So
podcast.
I know this is a podcast for creatives, and you're super creative. So I will totally look forward to picking your brain. Top down though, this is the first quarter of 2021. We survived 2020. We thought creator was gonna come and blow us all up, but like, what does that mean for you? I mean, how did the last 12 months affect you as someone that was working on your many crafts?
Uh, I mean, for me, it was a little bit of a blessing to be forced to stay home and explore, other creative sides to what I do. Like, I'm really into um, handiwork. Like, I have my day job. I work in post production, and I do hair and makeup on the weekends for weddings, and I just love working with my hands. So I've been really into exploring like interior design or DIY. DIY was a big thing during this
Yeah,
pandemic. A lot of
yeah,
people have been into just like doing their own, arts and crafts or home improvements, and that's another thing that I've been really into. Like if I had the strength and the time, I would do everything like hands-on,
yeah.
creative. But
What's
yeah.
going on so far? What kind of projects have you worked on at home?
Uh, I started small. We have one small bathroom, like a guest bathroom, and I fixed that up. I changed. They call it a band-aid renovation, where you can do projects at a budget, where you just basically paint over the ugly parts you don't like. So I painted over. I like literally gloss painted our bathroom sink in
Yeah,
the bathroom. It's probably not, what do you call it? A long-term solution, but it's
right.
pretty. I like my new bathroom. It's pretty.
Yeah,
And I just finished painting our kitchen cabinets. We had that standard particle board, the standard quick kitchen cabinets that people, put into apartments and stuff. So I
yeah,
just painted it with chalk paint just to make it a more aesthetically pleasing for me to look at while
yeah.
I'm in there.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I know that there's this whole feeling from other creatives when they're not locked in their house, but essentially locked out, right?
Yeah.
Where you look at your space and go, "This has to change." Was that a
Yeah.
particular moment for you over the past year, or was it kind of like a natural progression?
It's ever since we moved to our place, it's always kind of bothered me, and I always wanted to like update and fix things, but it really just because in those first 3 months of the lockdown, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get some inspiration and really dive in and just
Yeah,
do it. Like one of my favorite Instagram DIYers, her big quote is "Stop pinning and start doing." So I
deep.
was like, yeah, that's right. I can stop like just pinning ideas. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Are you an avid Pinterest user? I'm just curious.
Not as much. I used to be, but
Yeah.
I actually use it more for looking at hair and makeup ideas from clients, or even my own like quick research on what's kind of trending with hair and makeup. But I don't pin as much. I just kind of look at it quickly, kind of like Google Images.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I have a Pinterest. I'm not an
Oh,
active
are you?
user. Yeah, I'm not a super. I mean, like I have a little. It's like a little small, like comic books or shoes or whatever. But
Yeah.
one of the cool things I wanted to do, like the I guess stereotypical thing a guy wants to have is his own bar, right? So there was a time I was gonna have my own bar and grill and try to figure out recipes and pin it to my board there, and
Oh,
never
nice.
got so into it. So when I see like Pinterest uses, I'm always like, how does it work? Like what's the next level kind
Right.
of a thing.
I feel like there's a deeper level to it, but like, it's just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is there anything that you picked up over the past year as far as the creative side of things?
Other things I picked up
Yeah,
besides
like
like DIY
I
stuff.
mean, but like DIY, or if you had to like juggle the new day job, work from home with your sanity, or spending time with your significant other, because you're a part of a two creative household, that must be kind of crazy, right there too.
Oh yeah, yeah. We just like naturally found our balance, like working in in similar spaces. Like our
Yeah.
my home office is actually also our like mini gym.
Hmm.
So we kind of have to coordinate our schedules. So
Oh
he
yeah.
works out more than Jack works out way more than I do. So
Yeah, yeah,
he needs gym time more. So I'm like, no, I have meetings at this time, and but it's worked out. It's just kind of a natural progression of like yeah, finding the balance of working from home and trying to separate work from personal because like with being in one place in one building most of the time it's kind of sometimes it's hard to separate and kind of mentally sign
yeah,
off of work. So I kind of like not kind of like I really like and appreciate that we have a separate room so I can mentally be present for work, and then when I'm done, like, no, I'm done closing the door, leaving work on my commute, walk
yeah,
down the hallway,
yeah.
and we're done.
So walk me. I know you do a bunch of things, but I guess if you can rank them, like when people ask you what do you do, what usually comes first when you list the things that you're involved with currently? What is the mix?
The if I were to list it, the main thing I would say is I am mostly a photo editor,
Hmm.
and if I combine it, I'd say I'm a photo editor and a makeup artist, and a lot of times they go hand in hand because I can really assess color and shape. For example, you hear that word contouring a lot with
Yes.
makeup. So we do a lot of not contouring of like bodies or faces as much, but it's contouring light and playing with light and color in photography. So that's a big joy of mine. But makeup and hair is also another creative outlet that I really enjoy. I can express that enjoyment of color and light with people.
Yeah.
So that's I'll say that yeah, it's top two things I do. Yeah.
Let's talk about the photo side. I mean,
Yeah.
your work has been featured with sports brands, nationally syndicated magazines. You worked alongside giant pop artists. Has it ever hit you as a creative, or you're kind of like, oh my goodness, or is it kind of like, yeah, I know I'm dope. I mean, it's only a matter of time. These skills are gonna come naturally, bro. Like, how's it hit you?
Like another day, another pop artist, whatever.
Right.
So I've been in the business for about 14 years, and honestly, it excites me once in a while, but I have become a little bit jaded in a
Okay.
way, to be honest. But it's always been exciting for like probably the first 5 7 years.
Yeah.
But with like tight deadlines, sometimes you don't have time to get too excited or think about uh, the actual artist or the subject that's in the photograph because there's so much detail involved. Sometimes you forget that, oh yeah, I'm working on uh, Katy Perry or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'll say the most exciting person I've worked on is Conan O'Brien. He
Oh,
was, what was it?
no, I'm saying. I mean, I'm a fan of what he does. I'm more of a
Oh
Fallon
yeah.
guy, but Conan has been a
Oh
guy
really?
in the business for like 30 years. You know.
Oh yeah. Love his work, and it was so fun doing that. We got to be on the set. That's the only time I've ever really got to be on a set of a celebrity shoot because they wanted like live feedback from editors on how they could make something work or make the photo look realistic because of what he was doing. He was hanging off a real helicopter, and we had to make it look like he's high in the sky. But they only lifted him up about like 5 to 8 feet to keep him safe. Probably
Right.
not even 8 feet. I don't know how high. It was probably high enough where he could get jump off.
Was that nerve wracking? Was like, how was that? And did you have to be like, oh, that was trash. Do it again. Like, did you have to like get tough love in there, or?
It was more of like there's a lot of tough love from all the other production people on there and the photographer and art directors. But for us, it was more like, yeah, we're going to need other shots of his arm, like going like this, or, like higher, the arm is higher or his head lower. We come in from more of a technical side of it.
Gotcha. Are you? I mean, I don't know how photo editors work on set. Like, do you get to say, "Hey, man, this is going to give me a headache later on," or is it kind of like how much
Yeah.
creative input do you have beforehand?
We can, depending on the client, we can just speak, like raise up anything as we see it. Like, hey, this is great, but we need his hair. Like, for example, when you're on a helicopter, the hair, the wind is blowing. It's the air's forcing downwards, so all his hair was like covering his face.
Yeah.
So we just needed some proper, they call it plates, so that we can place in the hair in a little more, presentable way for a magazine cover, with it perfectly coiffed and blown to the side,
Yeah.
So we just directed that.
That's like his hair's his brand too. It's like there's certain
Yeah.
celebrities where it's like you got to make sure the cough is maintained.
Yeah, perfectly. Yeah.
Were you self-taught or did you go to a school? Did you do a little bit of both? You took like seminars? What was your approach to your craft?
It's mostly from experience and learning from other editors. I went to school for graphic design, but I got this job in editing part-time, and I really enjoyed it. And even my manager and owner at the time, he was already 20 years in the business. He started in like film and editing, the photos from the film. And from everyone I've heard that I've learned from, or I see as a mentor, is that you just learn from experience and time. Just keep doing it, and you just keep getting better and discovering new skills and tricks to get, better and better at the craft.
Yeah, that's encouraging. I know a lot of times for people trying to go to a new pursuit, especially a lot of our listeners, there's just like this original thought of, well, I have to go to this giant school. It's the best in the segment. It has to be the only path. But you're saying, as long as you're determined, you could pretty much find an alternate path to the career you want.
I believe so, totally. I have a cousin who's an attorney, and she said, I really learned everything from being on the job. She told me this when I was 18 and I was starting school, and I was kind of lost. Like, should I do graphic design? It's so competitive, all this, these questions you have, as a teenager jumping into college. And she said, look, if it wasn't for the requirement to get certified, or whatever, to be a lawyer, she said she would have just started working in law and just learning hands-on and from the experience of doing it. Yeah.
So there is something to be said, but just rolling up your sleeves and getting dirty.
Totally.
I guess.
Yeah, just get dirty, get messy, have mentors. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Do you have a mentor now, or a cabal of mentors? Like, what is the guide for you?
I have several like photographers I look up to, and even some of my own colleagues at Nike. They're amazing, and they're like, some of them are like younger than me, and they're just killing it every day. It's crazy.
Yeah, these kids now, these whippersnappers, out there achieving stuff. Well, for a lot of us on the creative pursuit, there's always a thing about the deadline life. When someone comes in, like, I want this done ASAP, and that can really make or break a lot of people. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs decide to break off and get a nice stable job. I've seen people break off and start their own businesses because of deadlines. Like, how do you mitigate that? Because you are working with one of the larger organizations on the planet. Like, how does that affect you as far as your work, your production, your psyche, all that stuff?
It took a while to adjust to it, because I was used to working at such a small company.
Yeah.
And as I was transitioning and working with this bigger team and corporation, it is just so like tight and streamlined. Like, that what's that saying? You're only as good as your team, as good as your team is, and it's it's such an amazing group that just works together. We're like a little machine that just every part just works seamlessly and great together. And it doesn't like having all these deadlines. Sometimes it gets stressful, but we're all like supportive and hardworking, and we all get our hands in there and do what we can to get it done. It's not just about like, oh, this is my job, I'm going to be in this corner. It's all hands on deck when it gets crazy or we have tight deadlines. So it's been a great experience.
Oh, so I couldn't tell if it was like awful or great, but it's great. Okay.
It's great.
It's all hands on deck, and I hate it. No, it makes so much sense. It's awesome.
There's the challenges too with too many cooks sometimes, but
Right. If you trust your team, right, then why not?
yeah.
So one of the reasons why I wanted you on this show, because besides the fact you're amazing, you do all these things, and you do it well. I remember due to a mutual friend, a former guest of the show, Jack Farmer, I became a self-employed DJ. And I in the SoCal wedding space where you do makeup as well, and I got involved into one of those like vendor meet and greets. This is like 6 months in the game, as they call it. Like it's
Yeah.
under me. I paid for the fancy business cards because that was the pro tip my dad told me, get good business cards.
Yeah.
And I went to this mixer and I was absolutely terrified. There were other vendors, but it was like, oh, this DJ company's been around forever. These people look a lot more slick. They have better tie bars and everything. And I remember the fact that you talked to me because we knew each other beforehand.
Oh, I
And
remember that.
and you gave me your card. You're like, look, I know who you are. I'm going to give you your card anyway. And we exchanged cards. But that gave me the confidence to keep going. So I don't think you understand how much it helped me out that night. And so the fact that you have compassion, you didn't need to do it. You could be like, oh, what's up, Flobo? I'm getting some hors d'oeuvres. The fact that you did that, yeah. Peace.
I'm here for the
I'm out.
food.
I've always appreciated that's always sat with me, and that means a lot because I know, especially with creative pursuits, it's very easy to see how people could be like, it's my territory, how dare you, whatever. But you've been rolling through it in the wedding vendor space as a makeup artist. So one, thank you for that, and two, just describe your experience working in that space here as a makeup artist.
Oh yeah. First off, I'm so flat. I'm speechless almost that you brought that up. I remember that night too because I get nervous at those things too. And Jack, who is my boyfriend as well, has been such a great support and has believed in me 100%. It's so important to have people that believe in you. You know, it does help a lot, and it's helped me to have more courage and confidence in approaching people and doing hair and makeup, which is a scary thing in itself too. You're the first person they see on their big day. You're kind of there to be their support as they're getting ready and everything's all lined up and ready to go. But sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Just more about your experience as a hair and makeup artist. Yeah.
More of my experience. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, I had a lot of the same feelings as you. Like, oh, there's so many artists. You can just look every other person's a makeup artist at this, at this networking event. And what helped me gain more confidence too is everyone has their own style. Everyone, and also there's business for everyone, and not everyone's looking for the same 2 or 3 type of artists in general too, like with anything, photography, DJ, everyone has a certain thing they're looking for. So makeup and hair has been really a thing I've enjoyed like doing for myself, my friends. And once I like kind of fine-tuned my style, I had more confidence because it was more like, here's what I have to offer. I can do any style that you are looking into or that you show me as a reference.
Yeah.
But like in general, like I know this is kind of my set style, and over time people started booking me over seeing my portfolio and a consistent style that I was showcasing, because I was trying to do everything and it was getting overwhelming. And while that's an important, it's important to have a wide skill set, but it's also important to have like for me, it was important to have like those key things that you can do for the clients.
Just
Yeah.
for your personal experience, how long were you going into your business for yourself in the hair and makeup space until you realized, oh yeah, I'm doing this. This is the training wheels are off. We're down the block. We're look, ma, no hands. How long would it take for you?
When I really felt that, like it's
Yeah.
yeah, this is it. I'm really in it, and I'm doing it. I would say it took probably a solid 3 years because I was doing everything. I was doing hair and makeup for photo shoots, weddings. Like I did a few short web series or like short films that wanted to be shown at film festivals. So I was really just trying to find like the part of hair and makeup I enjoy, and eventually it got to hair and makeup for weddings because like it's a party. We're here for a party, and
Yeah.
I just love
Yeah.
that idea. Yeah.
What happens when someone tells you, "Oh, we'll just do it ourselves"? Does it make you cringe as hard as a DJ does?
Oh, we'll do it ourselves.
Well, no, we're fine. We'll
Yeah.
do our own makeup.
I have a funny, a little story with that. Yeah, which it's understandable. People want to save money, but I had a bride once who only booked herself. She had a huge party, and she only booked herself and maybe mom or two moms, and they saw what me and the other artists were doing, and they're like, "Should we just get it professionally done? Should I just?" They were all like, "Oh, do our own makeup in here," and they're kind of with their curling iron, looking like, "Oh man, I like her updo. Should we just do it?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, thankfully, like there was time because the timelines are pretty tight, but
Yeah.
we actually got done a little bit faster than usual, and we just like everyone hopped in a chair, like, okay, let's go. We're gonna do hair and makeup right now." Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes when people see it, they're like, yeah, it's a different experience when someone's doing it for you. Kind of like DJing, you're doing it for the experience and obviously the professionalism of what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah.
Like it's anyone can like put on their podcast on their speaker, but it's the
Please don't.
full. Please don't.
Please don't.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. We'll just have someone pick the songs. You're like, but the music fades out to this track to the X. Come on. Pay someone that can read the room.
Yes, exactly.
I had the pleasure of perusing your Instagram, and a recent post had this caption. I'm going to read it for you. I just want to see how it works for this context as recently as today. This is a quote from your Instagram that says, the picture was your first corporate headshot, and it says, quote, "But really, if I could share some simple life lessons from my short, humble life, I'd say, always be your best self, be accountable, and stay gracious with all experiences and people." What does that quote mean for you today, especially in 2021?
I think it still strongly applies. You have to handle, there's a lot that's come our way, a lot of bad news we've been hearing the last year, and the way I feel we should persevere is continue to be humble, be gracious through everything. Anything that comes your way, handle it with grace, be accountable for the things you do. And just a lot of that I said that quote, a lot of the reasons because of the hard work a lot of us put in. We still have to sit back and remember to be humble and be gracious, because it can go away at any moment. It's not nothing's permanent.
Absolutely. This 2021 is kind of a quarter out of the way, 3 more quarters to go. Did you have any plans, resolutions, goals set up? Or is it kind of like 2020 and ruin that? I'm going to take it a weekend at a time. What's your outlook look like?
I took 2020 a week at a time for sure. I decided to make more goals this year so I can drive the focus a little more. So I have a few reading goals, kind of the typical, I have 150-page a month reading goal. And I have some finance goals so I can focus on, different savings and investment things. So I can continue to be creative. And even if I retire at a certain age, I can keep pursuing my creative interests. So that's why I set up those goals.
And I'm sorry, it's pretty much we're taking 2021 as a travel wash also, or you have travel plans as well?
Travel plans? I'm playing that by ear.
Yeah,
Travel
fair.
would be great. I just kind of let the ideas float around, but I don't want to get too excited about trying to travel.
Oh, no, absolutely. Why,
Or
why even like put the reservation down if you have to postpone everything, right?
the postponements, yeah. I mean, eventually, yeah, I'd like to go
Yeah,
overseas and visit the homeland, the Philippines,
yeah.
someday. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Is it like a business thing or like a leisure thing?
Oh, leisure
Yeah.
for
What?
visiting the Philippines.
Yeah, I don't know
Oh yeah, yeah.
how you Philippine like that was a bird.
Oh,
'Cause when I
Philippines.
when I when
I
I
like
when
that.
I Vegas, I play and
Oh,
I
yeah.
how do you Philippine? What do you do for fun? That's a good question. What do you do for fun between your creative endeavors and pursuits?
Oh man. Besides watching Netflix
That
and
counts. Go
okay,
on, self
Netflix,
care, self care.
self care. Oh, I love self care.
Yeah.
I try to treat myself once in a while. That's another thing what 2020 has taught me is practice more self care and that's just not like it's taking a bath like a spa day and stuff. It's like even emotional self care. Like it's okay to just do nothing or relax or forgive yourself more for mistakes and stuff. Because that's an issue I've always had is like it's not perfect. It's okay. Not everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, for other things, my all my creative endeavors is my fun, I guess. Like the DIY home projects, that's an ongoing thing. But yeah, that's it.
Respect. Thank you so much for being on the show, New Amsterdam Radio, Emerald. Now, if everyone is hearing your voice and is like, man, I gotta follow her, how exactly do they do that? Where are you on social media? Let them know.
Oh yeah, my social media is at Emerald M Makeup. Sorry, Flobo. I might have to. I don't even know my own Instagram. I have to edit that.
Oh
What's
no,
my
it's saying it.
Instagram?
It's totally saying it.
Oh, I blanked. I really don't know my Instagram. I'm actually
I,
going online right now.
I
Oh,
can ask. I
Emerald
can ask
M.
again. Let me ask again.
Okay, okay, sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
cut.
So, so if anyone wants to follow you on social media or just keep up with you and all your creative endeavors, how exactly do they do that?
Yeah, my Instagram is Emerald M underscore makeup for my social media and any hair and makeup inspiration. It's found right there.
Fantastic. I want you back on a future episode of New Amsterdam Radio. I would love to see how everything's growing outside the pandemic as we crawl back into normalcy. But yeah, I will be
I
following
love
you if I
it.
don't follow you already. I think I do follow you already, all
I
your
think
pages,
so.
but I'm not looking. I swear. I swear.
All good. That's what we do.